When Nahid Akhtar picked up the phone on October 28, 2023, she had no idea her world was about to shatter. On the other line was her only 20-year-old son, Shibli Sadiq Hridoy. His voice trembled with fear and he told her he had been kidnapped and was being brutally beaten. Before she could say anything, the call was disconnected. Nahid's terror deepened when a stranger called soon after and delivered a message that plunged the family into sheer panic. This is the sad case of Shibli Sadiq Hridoy. Shibli Sadiq Hridoy was a 20-year-old boy living in Chittagong, Bangladesh. His family was quite poor. His father, MD Shafiq, worked as a truck driver and his mother, Nahid Akhtar, was a housewife. Despite their financial struggles, Shibli had a passion for learning and had big dreams. To help pay for his college fees, he took a job at a nearby poultry farm. Although young, Shibli was dedicated and excelled at his job, quickly earning a promotion to a manager. While working at the farm, he befriended a few co-workers who were 5 to 6 years older than him. Being youngest of the workers at the farm, some of the workers under Shibli's supervision grew careless, assuming he wouldn't reprimand them. At first, Shibli gently corrected their mistakes, but when they continued to ignore his instructions, he took firmer actions, which led to a lot of conflicts. However, most of the disputes were resolved on the farm itself. Since Shibli's college had not yet started, he worked at the farm all day and returned home at night. On August 28, 2023, Shibli left home for work and was supposed to return home at night as usual. But on this day, he did not return home. When he did not arrive home late at night, his parents grew concerned. They called his cell phone, but he did not answer. The family assumed that he might have been caught up in urgent work at the farm and would return the next morning. But he never did. As the morning passed without any sign of him, they reached out to friends and family, but no one had heard from him. Even attempts to contact the farm owner were futile, as his phone was unreachable. Just as they were about to report him missing, Shibli's mother Nahid received a call. It was Shibli on the other end, his voice trembling with fear. He told his mother that some people had kidnapped him and were beating him mercilessly. He mentioned that he had been confined in a car for the past 12 hours, but that now he's been held in a shed, although he doesn't know where he is. Before she could respond, the call abruptly ended. She attempted to call him back, but the phone was unreachable. A little while later, Nahid received another call from her son's phone number. However, this time it was a different voice on the other end. The caller informed her that her son had been kidnapped and warned her not to call the number again. He demanded a ransom of 15 lakh Bangladeshi taka, stating that instructions on when and where to deliver the money would follow in the next call. They also threatened the family, saying that if the police were contacted, their son would be killed. Shibli's family, however, was very poor and had no means to raise such a large amount of money. They started asking people for help with the money. However, even after 3 days, they could not collect the said amount for the kidnappers. And when the kidnappers called the family again on 31st August, Shibli's father, Shafiq, requested the kidnappers to decrease the amount. The kidnappers somehow knew that Shibli's family was poor and reduced the amount to 2 lakh Bangladeshi taka. With great effort, Shafiq was finally able to gather the money. They anxiously waited for the kidnappers' next call. On September 4, 2023, the kidnappers contacted Shibli's father, instructing him to bring the money to Bandarban district and warning him again not to involve the police if he wanted his son to return safe. Shafiq traveled to a place called Dulapara in Bandarban district and waited for the kidnappers. Before long, two masked men approached him and demanded the ransom. Shibli's father handed over the money and desperately asked him where was his son. The kidnappers replied, "Go home, Shibli will return on his own." Shibli's father reached back home but could not find Shibli. The family then waited for 3 days, but when Shibli still did not arrive back home, they finally reached out to the police. When asked why they waited for 11 days before reporting their son's kidnapping, they said the kidnappers had warned them not to tell the police or they would kill their son. The police began their investigation by questioning Shibli's family about his life and any potential enemies he might have had. His parents described him as a good kid who never got into trouble, but mentioned a conflict he had with 6 workers at his job on the poultry farm. This altercation had escalated until the farm owner intervened and calmed the situation. Shibli had forgotten about it and moved on from the incident. The police quickly visited the poultry farm to investigate, eventually arresting all 6 workers there. Initially, the workers remained silent, refusing to answer the questions. However, after intense interrogation, one of them confessed to kidnapping Shibli. The police discovered that 2 months before Shibli was kidnapped, Shibli had objected to the dishonest practices of the poultry farm workers, who were selling chicken feed without providing enough food. This led to multiple disputes between Shibli and the workers. In retaliation, the workers devised a plan to teach Shibli a lesson. On August 28th, they abducted Shibli while he was walking home, taking him to a hill in Kodalpur Union near the border. The workers had claimed they had only intended to kidnap and torture Shibli before releasing him after collecting some ransom money from his parents. However, when Shibli recognized 2 of his kidnappers, they feared he would report them to the police and decided to kill him. Now there are conflicting reports about how Shibli died. Some articles suggest he was choked to death, while others indicate he was beheaded with a sharp knife. He was killed the day after his kidnapping, even before any ransom demands were made. When asked about Shibli's body, the workers admitted they initially concealed it on the hilltop using banana leaves. However, fearing that the body would be discovered, they decided to eliminate all traces of the crime. They then dismembered the body, removed the flesh from the bones, and scattered the bones throughout the jungle. The 6 accused, Omong Ching Marma, Sui Ching Mung Marma, Ang Tuing Mung Marma, Ukyathavi Marma, Uching Doi Marma, and Kasai Ong Chaudhry were arrested and charged with Shibli's kidnapping and murder. After their arrest, there was a shocking revelation. Media reports revealed that Umong Ching Marma was the mastermind behind the crime, and that he even admitted to cooking and eating some of Shibli's flesh after dismembering the body. This revelation sparked public outrage, leading to widespread protests. On September 11th, the police took the accused to the crime scene to search for Shibli's remains. A skeleton was found at the site, and Shibli's uncle, who also went to the crime scene, reported seeing scattered human body parts, including fingers, bones, and hair. Shibli's parents were devastated by the sight, and local anger towards the accused reached its peak. As the police were escorting the main accused, Umong Ching Marma, back to the station, a mob caught him and snatched him from the police. They then beat him mercilessly. He died on the spot. The police managed to protect the other accused, who will face trial in court, although no specific trial date has been reported. On August 1st, 2023, during a press conference, a RAB was asked about the social media rumors that one of the murderers had eaten Shibli's flesh. The RAB official said, "We have questioned them about this. They said they did not know about it. However, it is true that the flesh of the body was thrown apart, but there is no information on meat eating. The case hasn't received any updates so far."